That sun's out once again today, and it's actually really warm in this greenhouse. So nice to feel heat from that sun after that long autumn winter. It's not over yet though. It's going to drop down to -2 again tonight. When you get days like this, all of a sudden everything gets hot. You need to keep your eye on your plants, or this is going to happen. They've dried out really quickly, and they'll be fine once you give them a bit of water. But if you don't give them any water, they're going to get worse, and you could lose your plants, and we don't want that. These are very good sized plants. They're broccolis, so we best get some water on them straight away. And it's always best to water your plants as early as you can in the day, because it gives them time to take up that water, and then there's not so much left in this compost. So when it does drop down to minus temperatures, you've got a less chance of this compost freezing. Because if it freezes more than a few times, your roots of your plants are going to die, and then you'll lose them anyway. This one's had a bit of water, and you can see they're stood up nice and straight, how they should be. And so will they once we've sorted that out. So don't wait, do it straight away. So as much as a threat that this cold weather is, that little bit of sun can also cause a problem if you don't keep your eye on your plants. But apart from a little basic maintenance on your plants, it's still quite early in year, but we can still sow plenty of cold hardy plants and get as many going as we can, because pretty soon we're going to be swamped with planting things like tomatoes, peppers, aubergines and cucumbers, and pretty much everything else that you can think of. So all the ones that can be done now, get them done now. We've got packs of spring onions that we've had all through winter. We know onions take quite a long time to grow, so it'd be a shame to lose them for sake for a couple of minutes. But that's not why we're in here today. We're looking at his onion sets now, little baby onions, and it's the easiest way you can grow onions. Although I find with certain onions the seeds do work better, especially with red onions. But we've got quite a few of these to sort out, and they're called Sowing. And one of the first things you want to be doing with your onion sets is going through them and getting rid of any squishy ones or really thin ones. So I'll just put them into this colander, and then we can sort through them. And we have got quite a lot. But since I've also got a cooking channel, which you might be interested in having a look at if you've not already seen it, we do get through a lot of onions. When you buy these onion sets from places like Wilkinson's, they come in pre-packed bags, so you haven't got the advantage of selecting exactly the type of onion that you want. So you'll end up with things like this. This is a really weak, rubbishy looking onion. It's falling to bits. It's going to get squishy. It's basically no good. What you need are onions like this, really nice, firm, plump ones. So I'll basically go through them all, picking out the good ones, which we know are going to grow. Because we don't want to be planting any old onion. They take too long to become anything, to mess around with ones that don't look quite right. So we'll go through and we'll just pick out any that are nice and plump. Any that's damaged, you might as well throw away. They're not going to work. But even if you get small round onions like that, they're not much of a size, but if they're firm, they're still perfectly alright. So it's worth doing it, and you're always going to come across horrible ones like that. So get rid. Some people, however, are lucky enough to have places where you can actually pick out individual onions that you want. We only have Wilco's. We can't really do much of anything else except buy a couple of bags just to ensure we get quite a lot of good ones. But recently, we went to Chesterfield, and it's a farmer's market. And if you've got any happening quite close to you, it's always worth a trip, because you'll be able to get lots and lots of different types of seeds that you don't normally see. And also, you can pick out the onions that you want. So, we picked some of these out. And although the label's missing now, I think these are called Stuttgart. But you can see we got some really nice, good sized bulbs. Nice and firm. No messing about when you do this. They go straight in as they are. But we're not doing those just yet. Now when you plant these onion sets, you basically just push them into the ground, leaving the top sticking out, which tends to be a little bit of a problem if, like me, you've got quite a lot of birds around your area, because they see those tops and they just pull your onions up. They don't want them, they just pull them up, and then you've got to go around and replant them all. They probably assume that the little tops sticking out the ground are worms. That's the only reason I can think. So it is quite annoying if that happens quite often. But we have a way of combating things like that. One way you can do it is to just cover it up with some netting. That'll also stop cats using your raised beds as a toilet, which you definitely don't want. But in the same effect, as they're digging through, they dig all your onions up. So if you've got some netting, that's perfect. But if you happen to not have any netting, and you don't want to be buying any, with things being the cost that they are at the moment, there is another thing you can do that we do every year that works really well. And what we do is, we plant them in these first. So we'll take a few trays like that, and we fill them with compost. And because we're using really small cells, they don't take a lot of compost. So just a quick fill, and then compact it down. Not too much though. And then we'll loosely go back over the top to fill that tray. Then we'll just take his onion sets and we plant them just like you would in garden. So we just push them in, so there's a bit of that bulb sticking out at the top like that, and we'll fill this tray. And when I do this, I always select the smaller onions because the cells aren't very big. And of course, while you're doing this, you can separate the good from the bad at the same time. Always make sure you plant that side down. That's the root. And the top of your onion is like that, just in case you've never seen onion sets before. And that didn't take long at all. So we've got this tray filled with his onion sets. And as I said, there's quite a lot in there and it doesn't take long to do. But the whole point of doing this is that we can get some started now. You don't put onion sets out until spring, which is only a few weeks away, but between now and then we can get some started. If we put them in this tray and we give them a bit of water, they'll start putting down roots. And then the green tops will start coming out as well. So by the time we get to actually planting these out, they'll have green stems on, a few inches tall already, so they're well on the way. But the best thing about it is, once you pop these out of these little cells, they've got a nice little root ball at the bottom, and when you push them into the ground, the birds can't pull them out, which is one of the reasons why we do it like this. So if you've never tried that before, try it. And then we've got quite a few left. So we'll do a couple of those, and any that's left, we'll just push in the normal way a bit later on when it's a bit warmer. These onions are last year's onions. And onions have a 2-year life cycle. So the first year they'll grow and they bulb up. The second year they put out seeds. flowers grow on tops of those stems. That's where all the seeds are. But if that happens to your onions on the first year, then your onions aren't going to be very good. The inside of that onion won't be right for eating, because it will have a central stem in the middle of that onion, which is the stalk that grows up that produces the flowers. And that's the reason why they're heat treated. So when we put them out, that onion thinks it's its first year growing, not its second. And that's why sometimes your onions go to seed, and that's due to inconsistent weather. So if you put them out and we have a really hot spring, but then in April going towards May it drops really cold, and sometimes it's dropped as low as -4 in April, then that onion can be tricked into thinking once it gets warm again it's on its second year. So then as it grows, before you get time to harvest those onions, even though they have started bulbing up, it will send up a flower to drop its seeds. So if you don't know why that happens to your onions sometimes, that's why. So that's why you get little onions like this that you can plant out to grow into big onions in 1 year. Or you can do it by seed. And obviously seed's going to be a little bit more reliable than a set, because it's definitely its first year, it's only just started to grow. But the deficit of that is it takes a long time to grow onions from a seed. And with these, you've already got a head start, and even more so by doing that before you plant them out. So we'll give them a little bit of water, and I'll just take them back indoors, and in a few weeks time we're good to go straight away. And the other advantage of doing it like that is the ones that you've saved for planting out when it is definitely warm enough to do it is going to give you staggered harvests of your onions. You're going to have a set that's going to bulb up before the second set, so your harvest will last longer that way. And you can also take some a little bit earlier. Normally you'd harvest your onions in August, but when you do it like this, they've already started growing when you put them outside. So last year we was taking harvests of onions in July, which is always very welcome. But apart from doing onions from seed and onion sets, we've also got some new ones to try this year. They're called Florence, and they're a long red onion that can grow up to 6 inches long. And we've never grown these before, so we thought we'd give it a go, especially since they're a mild onion and they've got a sweet flavour, so perfect for pickling or just eating chopped up on a salad. So we're going to do some of these as well. And once again, we'll be taking that tray indoors until we get some germination. So just the same as before, we've filled that tray. We compacted it down a little, and then we're topping it back off. This compost is sieved as well, which I pretty much tend to do all the time. We don't want little stones getting in the way of this seed germination. So having done that, we just need to make a little indentation in each cell. Not too deep, because onion seeds are very small. So that's all been done, and we'll have a look at these seeds that we got from that farmer's market. The only difference when you buy these seeds is you don't get all seed, you get some of the waste as well, which is these little bits of white. That's not a seed, the black ones are the seeds. So you have to separate those off, but it won't take long. And I'm also going to put, as always, a couple of seeds in each. At least that way I know I'm going to get something out of this. And if some of that shell drops in, doesn't matter, as long as we see those black seeds go in. I'm not sure how these are do trying to grow them multi-sown. So what we'll do is we'll drop that couple in, and then if more than one germinate, we'll separate them, then plant them out as individual onions. At least there's one thing when you get seeds like this, you know you're getting fresh seeds. So for now that'll do, and we'll just pop those back in for another day. And then we'll just do that light covering that we always do. And these seeds will germinate and they'll be through that compost in no time. All done. So quick smooth over. Then we'll just give it a light watering. And then I like to cover them up with a bit of cling film. Because that's going to retain that moisture while these seeds germinate. And of course, they're going back indoors for the moment. So, a very cheap, homemade propagator. As soon as you see these seeds starting to germinate, take that off. It's served its purpose then. And beyond that, it will just cause problems. So, although it's not quite spring yet, we're still getting lots and lots done. We've got some spring onions already on way. And if you're growing spring onions, sow fresh seeds every couple of weeks. And then you're guaranteed a supply of spring onions all through year. We've got other onions that we're growing from seed. We've got those onion sets all ready to start growing straight away. So we get that jump on season. And then we've got lots of onion sets left that we'll plant out a bit later on, so we can stagger that harvest. So between all the things that we're doing now and the things we're going to carry on doing, we're guaranteed having onions from early summer right through until next spring. And if you're interested in seeing all the other things that we are going to be doing between now and the beginning of spring, then please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.